Folks, welcome to the Weedcon Expo here in Hollywood, California. I'm joined by Matt Gresh and Jody Starr, two phenomenal growers. And I just found out Jody's actually been down here in Southern California. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
You know, Matty, you came up to me and introduced yourself as like education, sort of that's a niche for you. What's the most important thing that you want to get across to cats that is not known in the public sphere about the education of cannabis?
Well, I think just traveling around the States, the biggest thing that leapt out to me is the lack of exposure people have had to cannabis. I grew up with a pot farm my entire life.
How old were you when you were on the farm?
8-month-old baby, like with a locally grown shirt on, like, daddy, you're good. Let me hold the weed.
Yeah.
And I feel awesome that my fifth generation, my daughter, has been pulling sun leaves off in this year's harvest and is the fifth generation, but that's not the norm. That's not the norm at all.
No way.
And meeting all these people.
That's why we're here.
And living all over the country. And it's just so crazy because, I was more comfortable driving, 10 pounds of weed, across town, being the old hippie free market soldier.
Sure.
Than I was when I initially went into the legal market, and you're walking in these stores and you're just like, whoa, we're selling weed in stores like we're supposed to be here. And now we're literally on Hollywood Boulevard, right? Capitol Records building's right down the frickin' street. This is
I ordered cannabis at a restaurant the other day.
Ass.
But why do you think people are not don't have access to cannabis? Is it because of stigma, dogma? Why is it just shut out of communities?
Well, they've made it so impossible for retailers to open up. They put so many restrictions on retailers that when it was 2015, there was almost 2,500 retailers. 2017, there was 800 plus retailers. There's 600 retailers open. We have less availability through the legal market now that we're in recreational than we've ever had. And the whole idea was to make safe access and more access for the medical patients that frickin' need it. And here it is, it's more difficult. And I'm really blessed to be, at an event like this, which is curated with all these conscious cannabis, all these craft cannabis manufacturers, brands, and farms. And Petri and John, they've been doing it right since day one. They've been bringing in their family. Petri's long tied to Krieger and all the talent that comes here, and their roots are here in Hollywood, and that's really cool to us because our roots are, all around the world, from Cameron and Shannon and Jody, but it's the like-mindedness of community and educating the community of the craft, of the things we found in our travels, just like, pirates and merchants of the past. At high tide distribution.
Which kinds of like cats that were selling what kind of cats? What kind of merchants?
What I'm saying is when we had merchants sailing in ancient times, they were bringing all the best wares up and down the seas. There was cannabis on those boats, guaranteed. It was mandatory
for hemp, the wines were made for
the colonies to grow hemp. When we were found in the new territories, right? We've been trading cannabis for a really long time, but now it's 27% tax. Thanks for the hike. You really understood us when we said we were overtaxed by just fucking hiking it up some more. Really got the message nice and clear. There's 5,000 farmers in Sonoma County, estimated, right? I definitely know more than 20. And that's how many are licensed. Our farm probably going to have to be shut down. The second farm we've opened because of jumping through hoops with all these, legislators and people that are kind of in the dark ages. Cannabis has only not been medicine for 80 years.
Jody, can you talk a little bit about what it makes you crazy at the legislative level about moving cannabis forward?
it's not so much the legislative thing, it's just how hard it is to break down the propaganda that's been built up for so long. People, the fact that you still can't sell cannabis in 20 states is unbelievable. And the fact that people still only think cannabis is THC is hard. And so we spend all our time trying to educate that. So not necessarily the legislative part of that, it's not really something that I'm in, but we just try so hard to keep educating and try and keep this out in the open and let people know that they can take cannabis-derived medicine without getting high, with getting high if you want to, without smoking it, without vaping it. There's all sorts of different ways, but until you can get in front of people and explain it to them and the stigma is broken down from all the propaganda, it's really hard because people deserve this medicine, and people are hard to try it until something happens to someone in their family and they do try it, and it stinks that it takes that long to get people to try this medicine. Which is really frustrating, because there's still not the education out there for everybody, It
took my wife 18 months to get her grandma to try, and her mom to try our healing balm and tinctures. She's buying all sorts of crazy $90 arthritis creams. Literally 18 months she's had this stuff. Puts it on. Oh, that stuff really works. I feel amazing. I know. I don't know what they've been saying. It's all so bad. We know.
Whole plant medicine.
It's like,
man, look at that.
It's crazy because even people that are in the industry, certain areas, they live in their little bubble. They get their flower. I need my this flower. It's like, no, dude. There's everything from sex lube to freaking inhalers, right? I mean, there's so many different products coming out that you should at least try them twice because you usually mess it up the first time.
See?
Right?
Stay away from the CBD pillows and the CBD shirts.
Yeah, no CBD socks. That's a little excessive.
Jody, can you just talk to the cats out there? I mean, you've really been integral in building this operation, and can you talk about a time in your career when you were facing adversity and how you overcame it, how it made you stronger?
Man, we've been through a few of those extinction events in this industry. When it went illegal.
But for you personally, when you were up against being mentally strong, I think that's the key.
Okay, well, so I moved here from St. Croix. I lived in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands for 17 years. That's where the little pirate theme comes from.
We riffed on
Can't
that.
say we're out there, yeah. So that was my style, island life. I got up here to LA because this is where the market is. This was my skill. I had better people in my company that could farm, better people that were good at distribution, manufacturing. I'm good at sales. So I've been down here in LA for 3 years now, but I'm missing my community down here. It's just me. We have another sales guy in Temecula, but I'm missing having a place where everyone goes on Wednesdays. Everyone comes over to this guy's house. In St. Croix, I had that, big fish, small pond. Up in Northern California, we have that too. So I've been fighting really hard down here to stay positive because what we're doing is we're making medicine for kids. And we're able to save kids' lives. We're able to give people quality of life, help people sleep, get over pain. And it's so much bigger than I am, and it's such a cool time to be a part of cannabis that no matter how hard it gets for me, I have to keep fighting because it's so much more important to me. Like I said, if we stop making medicine down here, there are a handful of families that I know that their kids will have serious medical consequences. So it makes you want to work 14 hours a day. It makes you want to keep pushing. It makes you want to be better. It makes you want to get out of bed and keep educating and keep talking to the bud tenders, keep talking to the families, keep reaching out, trying to give them accessible medicine, but trying to do things the right way too. Try to play within the rules of Prop 64, trying to help other small farms get to market as well, because together we'll survive. Separately, we're all in a lot of trouble right now.
You feel there's factionalism developing amongst people? How do you keep people together?
See, well, that's
leadership. Right
we preach community over competition all the time. And right now up in Sonoma County, we're seeing old school vendors, old school craft products, distribution companies that are closing their doors. And so what we reach out is trying to reach out to other small farms that have product in limbo, trying to help them do whatever we can. In Sonoma County and Northern California, we're all in this together, we stand on the shoulders of the black market, and we're all trying to keep doing things the right way.
The shoulders of the black market.
Yeah, man.
That's what it is. That's because of the stigma.
You do find events like this, you find like-minded people who are trying to shape the industry positively. They are slowly coming together. You're seeing stronger and stronger bonds, and unfortunately, I think in all industries, it is tough in any industry in the world, no matter what you're doing, and that's the fact of life. In this industry, we are going to have some very strong collaborations and people that are going to keep the true culture of cannabis, helping those in need, not for any gain or reason, because you're supposed to help people when they need something, right? And that's, I think that's what we're out to do, is find those like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
Are there other spaces, maybe not a expo, but are there other spots in the country or events that you guys go to promote your
best events, hands down, are at the senior centers. We just did an education.
Riff on that. Give a good story. Give an inspirational story at the senior center.
Cloverdale Senior Center.
Cloverdale.
Me and Captain Cam, we go with Red Door Remedies, Diana and Jamie from their shop. Just a small shop in the only shop in Cloverdale, because that's all they're all, wow, thanks, retail. But we go up there, we meet Irma Burden, 100-year-old Irma Burden. This lady, she's so sweet. She's like, I have pretty much gone my whole life without taking anything. I didn't need to. I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But my knees started hurting a little while ago. So I thought I might come try cannabis. Oh my gosh, she seemed like one of the most reasonable people in the world, Emma. And it was crazy because she's like, I've never done opiates, I've never done anything. 100 years old, celebrating a birthday party, coming to learn about cannabis. It was amazing to have the conversations and to see the people, some of the people who knew a little bit. They were taking CBDs or they're done, and they were just talking and backing up some of the validity of what we brought to the table, and that opened up the conversation. And now you have 12 and 13 seniors talking about everything from sex lube to knee balm.
The seniors are on so many pills also, so when you can give them a reason to get off of those pills and a way to start using their endocannabinoid system, it's really important to them.
And they don't want to take pills. Like that's the first thing they talk about. Is not because half the pills make them constipated. I mean, it's shitty how hard it is.
What about veterans for traumatic brain injury?
Plants now pills. Yeah.
There's a guy that came out at La Florista, and it's like, I came back from the war, went in the hills, and because I knew that I shouldn't be around these people, and he's grateful that he found our product, and he's like, I'm able to come to an event like this.
Jeez.
And you're just like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm a big tough guy, but that gets you emotional, because it's like you put yourself in wilderness away from everybody because you thought that was best. And now, we make a product that helps people get relief from stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
So for veterans, like the high CBD, the ACDC, is a 30-to-1 CBD to THC plant. Won't get you high, but it's great for anxiety, for stress, for depression, and it's what so many of these guys are dealing with. But you run the risk of it causing a failed drug test, which sucks. And then also the high THC olive oil, when you go to bed, they can't, their brains, try to go crazy in bed. The high THC before they go to bed keeps the brain from going too far to the REM cycle, so you don't remember your dreams, so you get a restful night's sleep. So you're seeing great results for PTSD as well, for people being able to sleep like that. And then, like I said, the anxiety and the stress, using your endocannabinoid system. We don't have a Xanax system, we don't have an Advil system, we don't have an ambient system. We have an endocannabinoid system that balances out your gut, your mood, your pain, your appetite. Feed that, and you'll be healthier.
And you still get all sorts of cannabis shaming from people. Like, my wife's a new mother. I got an 8-month-old, and we're in 5 cannabis businesses. We're always going to smell like weed. Most of our cannabis products that we make, most of our weed is non-psychoactive. It's high CBD. We make it specifically for babies who are ailing and on the brink of death, and hopefully bring them back from the clutches of death. And I get emotional even thinking about the kids, because now I have a little daughter, and if she started having seizures out of nowhere and not being able to stop, I mean, it would be horrible.
But now we have all those testimonials. The parents have been giving us, writing, say, hey, my kids had these seizures, they take this medicine now, haven't had a seizure in a year. Is actually cognitively developing like they said they never would. Baby Willow was practically catch with her the other day. It's unbelievable to see these kids off of their medicines and just on a handful of tinctures. It makes you want to work all day.
Yeah, they make it so difficult to get cultivation that it's better for people to go to other states, start cultivating ACDC in the hemp program, not paying taxes through the local government, because they're making it so difficult. and still being able to at least provide, one of these forms of medicine to people, and in California where people think it's so great, we still have a mass of the people that have to travel over 40 minutes to 2 hours just to get to legal cannabis. So where it's cool for San Francisco and parts of LA and parts of Palm Springs and a little bit of San Diego, but there's a huge population that's not served.
70% of California still is not recreational.
And they're shutting down retailers,
That's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Well, I mean, Matt Gresh, can you talk about your concept of unconditional love as it relates to working with this cat and the small but, efficient operation that you guys are cultivating?
Well, so, I mean, with
unconditional love, like I'm saying,
with us, it's lifting all the ships, but focusing on the small, the small heritage farmers and the people that want to do it right. And it doesn't matter if you do it like us. You just have to be looking to constantly being improving. Hopefully, you're focusing on sustainability and regenerative practices.
But when did you recognize that you could only affect positive? Either one could take it. When you could only affect change in your world. When I think sometimes we get bogged down with the ego or things that are too beyond our control. When in fact, the only thing you control is your actions.
Yeah, so I think the reason we take a stance to be an education-based platform is instead of using, there's tried and true psychological sales methods that we could literally do to let people see our logo multiple times in a visit. We can pay for shelf space. We can do all this psychosomatic marketing. It works, but it's just really it's not congruent with the way the cannabis industry, in our opinion, should be set up. It should be that open source. Everybody should have access to it. They should have access to the best possible available products. And that's what we advocate for, is just making common sense in everything that you do. Whether it's employing people in your community and giving them a living wage and having ethical practices and reinvesting in your community, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's, you look at this cannabis community here, that's all these people together, but you have your local community, you have the people you work with, and it's how you want to set the tone for what you do. And at the end of the day, most people, when they want to work, it's not money. Money's up there. You want to get compensated, but typically people need something that helps them feel like they're making an impact to the world. And we know that when we put out a whole plant medicine and we help people put out artisanal products that align with their demographic that they're going for, that we're making cannabis accessible, that's safe, and to the best of our knowledge, the best available way that's not raping the land.
This is bigger than us for sure, and that's the important part of it. We're bringing a plant out of prohibition, and we're so lucky to be a part of it right now, because for 60, 70 years, people have been banging their heads against the wall trying to get this plant out of prohibition. And now here we are. We're at a consumption event with Robbie Krieger from the Doors at Weedcon, smoking freely everywhere, having CBD cocktails, and we know what the future looks like. It's great. Come on in, the water's fine. But it's a huge responsibility to keep educating people about plant-based medicine. We're still not teaching the endocannabinoid systems in med schools yet, because there's no money in health, there's just money in sickness. So it's up to people like us, people spreading this information, telling your friends.
How do you get people unwrapped from dogma? Because it's all dogma.
Well, you need to get people to try the medicine.
Yeah, mushrooms. Give them mushrooms.
Psilocybin, I did.
It's education.
That's for
it's getting
another
to
talk.
Listen. People are finally willing to listen. People are finally willing to talk, and people are finally willing to listen. And it's a brave new world that we're in right now, because for so many years, you'd be sitting, there'd be 5 cultivators in a bar, but no one would talk to each other.
Sure.
Because you weren't allowed to.
It's what you're doing right here. It's
That's
getting
important.
this information.
Dude, the tentacles of this fly, we'll just let it grow, man. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for being inspirations on my journey. I look forward to seeing your farm in Sonoma.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
catch a hang up there, dude.
And I'm about to start reading your book. I can't wait. I read all the excerpts from Facebook, but now I'm about to put it all
you got to get a hit to my book.
Yeah, man. I can't
beginning,
wait.
guys.
I don't even know about the book.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Peace, brother.
Yeah.